Welcome back to the 5-7 podcast. I'm your host, Mike Bree, and today I want to talk about the antitrust hearing that took place last week, and I want to talk about the freedom of speech. And I have a specific example that I want to use about Drew Bree because I think that it makes a lot of sense to use that. He made a statement a little while back, and I'm going to get into that in a minute. But first off, last week there was an antitrust hearing with some heads of the biggest tech companies in our country. And that's Tim Cook, Mark Zuckerberg, Sundar Pichai, and Jeff Bezos. Tim Cook is the CEO of Apple. Mark Zuckerberg is the CEO of Facebook. And Sundar Pichai is the CEO of Alphabet, who is the parent company of Google. And Jeff Bezos is the CEO of Amazon. Four gigantic companies that I think that play a role in all of our lives, whether it be people get on their Facebook or Instagram account to check their social media, on your Apple or Google product, and people also using Amazon to shop. Now they fielded questions about their respective businesses, but I'll get into that in a second. Okay, I want to talk about cancel culture. And with cancel culture, I think that it's killing the freedom of speech because I don't think we have the freedom of speech today. You can say something today, and if people don't like what you're going to say, it's going to end you. They try to take you down personally, and in doing that, a lot of times they take you down professionally. And this happens on both sides of the aisle. Now, why is it that people can't speak their mind? Here's an example that I've got. Drew Bree stated his opinion about what he thinks during the national anthem. What he said was, I envisioned my two grandfathers who fought for this country during World War II, one in the Army and one in the Marine Corps, both risking their lives to protect our country and to make our country and this world a better place. So every time I stand with my hand over my heart, looking at that flag and singing the national anthem, that's what I think about. And in many cases, that brings me to tears. Thinking about all that has been sacrificed, not just those in the military, but for that matter, those throughout the civil rights movement of the 60s and all that has been endured by so many people up until this point. And everything right, and is everything right with our country right now? No, it's not. Is there anything really wrong with this statement? I don't think that there is. Well, a lot of people had something to say about it. And something that needs to get cleared up here is intent and what the action actually does. Now, say someone takes a kneel during the national anthem. I think that those people think that they're making a stand for something. They're standing for some injustice, and that's what it is. It has been stated that it is in no way meant to be disrespectful to the military, and not to be disrespectful to our flag. But the fact of the matter is, when you kneel during the national anthem, it is disrespectful to the flag, and I have a really big problem with that because there's a lot of people that have died for our flag and died for our freedoms. People of all different colors and religions, including black people. And I think that it's disrespectful to their memory and their sacrifice for kneeling during the national anthem. So what is something that can be done in place of that? Maybe standing unified around at the 50-yard marker. I think that would be a good sign of solidarity from both teams, having a big circle from guys from both teams showing a united front. I think that would be a good idea for football, and that can go for all sports as well. But it's important to understand for a lot of the social justice freedom fighters out there that the people that are doing this aren't meant to be disrespectful. But the people that are doing it need to understand that they are being disrespectful. And I think that everybody should stand for the flag. So that's my take on that. So Drew Brees got a lot of flack for what he said, and I don't think that he should have. I think that he stated his opinion, and in his life and what has happened in his life with his family, that he's had people that have served in the military, and he's trying to honor them. What's wrong with that? I don't think that there's anything wrong with his statement. But players from his team said that he didn't get it, that he didn't understand what they're trying to do and what they're fighting for. And a lot of people had a problem with it. And I think it's absolutely ridiculous. I think that people take things a little too seriously and that they take them a little too far. Now, along with the freedom of speech and moving off of that, because, we could talk about that for hours about people not standing for the flag, because it's a big discussion and it dives down another path of getting into a more social justice issues. And it's a fact. There are some people that have been disproportionately faced racism during their lives. Now, it hasn't been from everybody, but there have been people in their lives that have made a big enough impact that they feel that they have faced systemic racism. And in a lot of cases, they have. But I want to move on to these Instagram and Facebook and the idea of them suppressing the freedom of speech. And I'm going to use two examples. A couple people I follow, I'm involved with Craig Sawman Sawyer's his company, V4CR, Vets for Child Rescue. Okay. Craig Sawyer founded V4CR, Vets for Child Rescue. They have also done a documentary called Contraland. Head to the website, vetsforchildrescue.org, to check out the V4CR mission, or go to www.contralandmovie.com to check out the documentary. He has posted things and they have been taken down, and has even had his account taken down. And what he posts is information about child sex trafficking and how much of a huge problem that it is. And he's being suppressed on his social media sites. So I urge everybody to go check out his site, check out his social media pages, and check out what the V4CR mission is, because it's pretty remarkable. And a lot of people can volunteer on social media by spreading the word about what they're doing and what their mission is. And I think it's a great cause. Mike Glover, who I've also had on the podcast, he's the CEO of Fieldcraft Survival. He puts out useful information about preparedness and has products on his site that support that. He commonly does Instagram live videos and posts it, but it seems that Facebook and Instagram is not letting him post all of his content. YouTube has demonetized him, and it's a problem, because the information that he's putting out is information that everybody could use. He spent a lot of time in special forces, so he has a lot of information on how to prepare yourself for situations that you don't want to find yourself in. And he's got a lot of great information. Go check out podcast 16 on the podcast 16 on the 57 podcast page, or go to his own podcast called the Fieldcraft Survival Podcast. You can find on YouTube and on all the podcast sites. Now, the big question is why. I think that there are some left-leaning organizations that have YouTube and Instagram and Facebook pages, and their information doesn't get suppressed, but it seems that conservative voices seem to get suppressed. Now, I understand that if you have a business, or you have a social media company and you want to only allow, say, liberal voices, okay? That's fine. It's your business. You can do whatever you want. And so that you could be known as a left-leaning social media company. I think the problem is that Facebook and Instagram and Twitter, and YouTube, they want to come off as centrist. and they want to say that everybody could put their information on there, but that's not necessarily true, because they have algorithms and they have people who search for hate speech and hate content, and a lot of these people have their own political agendas. So it's easy for them to not allow, say, conservative voices and only put out information that on things that they want to hear. And I think that's where the problem comes in, is that there shouldn't be algorithms set in place to just allow specific people. Now, I understand that there are people out there putting out bad information, fake news, putting out information meant to skew people's opinions, and they want to end that. But that's where it gets a little tricky and things get a little gray, because you want these companies to filter out the fake news and the bad things that are put out on there that generally both sides or everybody can agree is deplorable. Say the KKK. You want to keep organizations like that off of these outlets, but then at the same time, you're infringing on their right to freedom of speech. So it's really tricky. I would like to hear what anybody has to say on a solution to both sides being able to put out their views and not be silenced, but at the same time not infringing on people's on people's rights to freedom of speech. And that's pretty much what I want people to think about. It's really upsetting that it seems like the freedom of speech needs to be filtered in a way, because people are getting their feelings hurt so easily nowadays. When someone tells you something, you could take it with a grain of salt. You could say, you know what, I could care less for what you have to say. But people are taking what others are saying about them and taking it to heart. And you could say that maybe it's a self-confidence issue. Maybe it stems from a lot of people not getting challenged in their life, so that they're used to people having issues with what they have to say. That's one thing. Maybe they're spoiled and they're entitled. But it seems a lot of people want their feelings to be heard and think that everything should be acted upon at that point. Say somebody says something on TV and nobody agrees, and people don't agree with it. Automatically, they want to cancel this person out, and they want to have this person's life ruined because they said something that somebody didn't agree with. So I have a really hard time with that stuff, and I think that it's garbage. And I think that people need to stop taking themselves so seriously. And if you really do have an issue with something, think about it and see how it affects you and see how it affects others. I don't think people necessarily are taking others into consideration these days, and that's another huge problem. In closing, I want to say that I think that it's important for people to start caring about each other, and understanding that everyone that you see on the street, they more than likely have somebody that they care about and somebody that they go home to. And if you make decisions that put that person in danger or put people in danger in any way, you should start thinking about your life and really your path, because if you're going out and you're doing these crazy things during these crazy times, you should really have some little introspection about yourself. And this could pertain to, I'll use the mask thing, for example. Some people think that mask wearing is ridiculous. Other people think that mask wearing is absolutely imperative. Now, if there's a chance that wearing a mask could help somebody, maybe we should all just wear masks. Now, there is proof out there that says that people with poor health are affected by COVID-19. Now, whether that's true or not, have been studies that show that. Whether it's true or not, if we can help people by wearing masks, maybe we should. And and just bite the bullet. Get this COVID-19 thing over with, and let's all move on. So that's pretty much what I got for you today, guys. I just wanted to bring these few things out. Look into the antitrust hearing. See what these 4 CEOs had to say. Take a look at what or how people are possibly having their voices suppressed on social media. Look into Craig Sawyer's company V4CR and look at their mission, see what they're doing, because it's pretty honorable. Look into Mike Glover and see what he's talking about in the realm of survival, because he's got a lot of great information out there, and it could bring a lot of value to your lives. And respect each other, and appreciate the time that we have here and what we have. Okay, guys, this is Bree out.